This time on Pride Parkway, we've got an extension to the scenic area and it's all changed in the storage yard. Hello and welcome back to Pride Parkway. If you're new here, I'm Jeff and this is my N-gauge loft layout. For those of you who aren't new here and have been following along for a while, some big changes, but probably not the video you're expecting. I've had to park work on the heritage station. Well, not park it, I've done some of the work. I've got a three-way point over on that side of the layout just as you come out of the station, and it's causing me loads and loads and loads of problems. It's the only three-way point on the entire layout, and it was a bit iffy to start with, and since I've ballasted over there, it's a nightmare. It's just an absolute nightmare. Everything's derailing on it. So I've been playing around with it. Didn't want to finish the work over there in case I needed to lift the track, and I thought I'd fixed it. It ran for a couple of weeks when I was up here fine, and then overnight I changed the points and then changed them back again, and now everything's derailing on it again. So executive decision has been made that the three-way point's coming out and it's just going to be replaced with a left and a right point. It'll take up slightly more space, but the three-way point's been a pain since I got it, so it's going the distance. So while I was waiting and working and making that decision, I decided to turn my attention to what you see behind you. Now, if you remember, and if you've been following the channel for a while, this used to look like this. It was narrower. It was just one grey hinged lidded storage yard, and eventually the plan was I was going to put a town scene on the top of it, but I felt like I was missing an opportunity. There was something just not right with it. So this is the result of about a month's work, on and off whenever I had time. Just as a reminder, this, which has been slightly trashed now, used to sit here. So the station is just down there. That's the end of the town scene as it currently stands. And this would be the end of the scenic section. What we now have is a brand new cutting, which runs right the way back here, where the town scene will continue around it. And we've got a new road bridge, which is going to go over here. And most importantly, I've also installed a new junction over here, because previously the back double loop didn't connect to the front double loop. More about that as we get into the video, but that's fixed. We've now got a new junction as well. So enough of me rambling on, let's jump into the video. First of all, as always, a massive thank you to everybody who subscribes to the channel, both new subscribers and old subscribers, and to everybody who gives a like or a thumbs up or a shout out or anything. It's all appreciated, and it all really does help keep me motivated and keep me up here in these crazy times working on the layout. So let's have a look at what I've been doing, and hopefully in the next video we'll be back and we'll get that side of the layout finished with the heritage station. Cheers guys. Alright, so for those of you who've been following the channel for a while, you will be familiar with this part of the layout. So this is where we come out of the main station, two double lines and two double lines disappear into the tunnel, and then here we have what's basically my fiddle yard, and it's under this hinged lid. We've got the two lines and the two lines that go through, and then all my stocks in here. Now it's not technically a fiddle yard because I only have points at one end, so it's a storage yard. And what the plan was always to be, the reason this is hinged is so that I've got access to get into the fiddle yard, but the plan was to build and continue the town scene, which so far finishes there, and just have a big town on the top of here. I'm going to take all of this off, get all the trains out, and then I'll show you what the problem is. So that's all the trains took out of the fiddle yard, and the problem that you're going to see now is, even though, and if you've followed the channel for a while, I've changed this once already, but I can't get to the tracks at the back with this current setup. So that's the first problem. And what I did was, I've obviously got this hinged area here, which can't go all the way back because of the way the roof slopes in, so that had to stop there. Originally I had ply on the back and I took that off and I just put foam board on that I can lift off and get in. Not really ideal. And of course the other issue is I'm just losing a big scenic area as well. So let me take this off so you can see the track, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to do. So with that structure removed, you can see what we've got. So we've got the 2 lines that go through here, we've got 2 lines that go through here, and then every other line that you see in this area. Some of it's quite hard to see on the camera because of the concrete track, but they are storage lines in here at the moment. It's good, but let me show you what the problem is. It's going to be easier to show you this as a diagram. So basically what we have in this layout is 4 loops. I wanted to make the track work as simple as possible. I know it doesn't look it in that Fiddle storage yard, but as simple as possible. 4 loops, so I could have 4 trains run at any one time, and some storage space so I didn't have to be constantly lifting trains on and off the layout. So basically what we've got is we've got 1 slow line there, and then we have a fast line there, and then we have another line there, and another line there, and those arrows show the direction of travel. Now all over the layout I have points so that you can cross from this line to this line and from this line to this line, and if I just pan the camera up ever so slightly, there you go, you can see an example of that right there. However, what I didn't do was put anywhere where I can move trains from this line to this line. Just didn't think about doing that. I just thought these 2 lines are going to be my fast lines. This is where my HSTs will live. So as long as I've got storage yards coming off here for HSTs, good. And these will be my more country services, freight, all that kind of thing. So as long as I've got storage there, fine. However, the reality is occasionally I want to move a train from one line to the other, and I can't do it at the minute. So that's what I want to achieve, is a way to have a train that's on this line cut across here and join onto that line, and I want to take a train from this line and cut across and go onto that line. But of course I don't want trains to be able to go the wrong way. I don't want it to come off here and end up going the wrong way on that line, because that line goes that way. Hopefully that makes sense, and I believe the solution to that is single slips. Alright guys, so I made a little bit of a boo-boo in this video. The next couple of clips I've not connected the microphone, so I've got some video clips of me happily chatting away, but you can't hear any of it. So in a break from my usual style, I'm just going to very quickly tell you what I did. Now the good thing is I have done a video before, the link's up in the top corner, of me laying tracks. If you want to see that, you can have a look at it, or there's loads of other good videos on YouTube that you can have a look at as well. As a reminder, I am using peco code 55 trackwork and pointworks, and I use medium unifrog points, and again I've covered them in a previous video. However, for the single slips that I'm using electrofrog, and that is because they only come in electrofrog or insulfrog. I don't use insulfrog, so that's why I'm using electrofrog. Now I also treat myself to another 6 DCC Concepts IP digital point motors. They are my point motor of choice on the layout. They're really good because they are really simple to install, and as well as changing the points, to take care of the polarity, and on something such as a single slip it's important to have that, and it saves you having to purchase multiple different things. Now I'm using single slips here, and I could have used double slips. The main difference between a single slip and a double slip is a single slip will only allow you to have one route set, so basically it will stop a train on the up line moving to a down line, but you could have used double slips, and I've put a link down below to a video that I found online from Charlie Chadwick, and I just thought it was a good video. It explained it really well, and there was no point in me repeating what he'd said, so have a look at that video, and that will hopefully make it nice and simple. Now here we have one of those single slips that I'm going to be installing, and they are pretty simple to install. You'll find a bit further on in this video that I did have some problems, but that was down to me trying to be clever and it not working. But basically you can see here we've got the single slip laid out, and what you want to do is you want to remember I'm talking DCC here. That's very important. My layout is DCC. all you want to do is on each point is put on the each end rail, should I say, sorry, you need to add an insulator joiner. Treat this as its own separate little unit of track work, so completely insulate it from everywhere else. So once you've got those plastic nylon fish plates on, you've got 4 wires that come down from the point. Now you want the 2 that are in the middle. They're going to be connected to your DCC bus. One's positive and one is going to be negative. And then you've got 2 other wires and you're going to connect them to the frogs of the point motors, and that will take care of the polarity. Now, just one thing to note is the wire hanging down on the left is actually connected to the point on the right, and the wire on the right will be connected to the frog on the left. Sounds confusing, it's not. If you just look at the instructions that come with the points, it all makes sense. Or also check out that video online that I mentioned above. So that's that. Now let's move on. Let's get those storage lines up, and then let's get the junction installed and see where we get to. It's now Wednesday and the last clip you saw was Saturday. This has been a nightmare to install, but it's now installed. I just messed up the track work was simple. The Colville point motors are very simple. There's no point in me showing you how they work. They're literally 3 wires, 2 from your bus, 1 from the frog, but it's how you program them. And that varies depending on what system you've got. So unless you've got the Gauge Master Prodigy Advanced like I have, there's no point in me showing you. And there's plenty of videos online to show you how to do that. What I had a problem with was the polarity on them. I tried to simplify the routes with the point numbers, but it actually just made an absolute shambles of it all. So I had to reprogram them all, give them all individual numbers, start from scratch, and just trying to work out, you can probably see scribbling there, and my DCC concepts instructions for single slips, which did really help, but I've now worked it out. It would be much easier if I used a computer program to control my points, where I could just click a button and it would set the route, but I don't. But I've got it, I've worked it out. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have a tidy up because there's stuff everywhere, and then I'm going to have a look and see how many Fiddle Yard tracks I can fit in at the back. Really, really simple. You know how to live Fiddle Yard. And then I'm going to have a look at this front area as well. We may need to extend the baseboard by a couple of inches. That's not a problem. I've got wood. If I need to do that, I can. And there was one other thing I was going to say to you. You can possibly see the brown that I've painted on here. This is all now going to be a scenic area, so you're going to see this. And I think you'll get some really nice views of trains approaching the station. I'll put a picture in now of what it looks like at this moment in time, so that you can see the view down into the station and with the new junction we've put in. So I'm going to disappear. I'm going to work on these Fiddle Yards, have a tidy up. This track is not fastened down yet, so that needs to be done. Cosmetic sleepers need to be put in as well, and yeah, then I'll be back. So very quick update with where we're up to. So the junction, as we know, is in. Tested, working, and just needs fastening down. The back Fiddle Yard is now in. I've used 4 points, which has given me 5 lines, and each of those lines is big enough to fit an 8-car HST, so that's good. And then the Fiddle Yard in the front here, or storage yard, which is what it actually is, we've got 4 decent sized lines there, and what I've now done is I've added 6 inches onto the baseboard. I've just finished putting this in place, so I'm going to put some cork on the top of it, just to bring it to the same height as this area, because this is all covered in cork. And then I'm just going to paint it and seal it as well, just with a bit of emulsion, just so it's got something on it so that it matches in with the rest. And then we'll keep working on the storage tracks, and what the plan is, I'm going to get another one in there, and then I'm going to do some coming back across this area, which can be used for DMUs, etc. And then over this side, I have got 5 sidings that will fit a decent sized train in, you know, 5+ carriages, that kind of thing. And then I've also got a short side in here which will hold a 3-car DMU, a head shunt here which comes back into these 1, 2, 3 lines, which will all fit at least a 3-car or 2-car DMUs in there, and I've left my program track where it used to be back in there. So that's all in, it's all tested, it's all working. I did have a short, it was just one of the points I had put the red and the black wire on the wrong way around, and then once I wired it up underneath the layout, that was what was causing the short. But just going through and taking each one out, wire out, seeing where the problem was, I soon worked out where it was. So that's been fixed. Now what I haven't done yet, but I am going to do, is each of these sidings where they used to be powered the whole time, I'm going to have an on-off switch for each of them, so that when a train's parked up just in storage not being used, the decoder's not sat on with power to it all the time. And that was actually, somebody commented on that on one of my previous videos as a suggestion, which was a great idea. So that's to be done. The wiring at the moment is just temporarily connected to the bus, but there's big long wires on them so that I can easily attach a switch and put a little control panel on there just to turn them tracks on and off. Though that will be done shortly. I'm not going to record it because it's wiring a switch, which was in my last video, but the switches are on order, and as soon as the switches come, we'll get that done. Now the next thing I'm turning my attention to is how I'm disguising the storage tracks. And if you remember, I'll put a picture in now of what used to be here was just one big old box with a lid on it, which didn't work for me. Because these are storage tracks and not so much fiddle, it's not a case of one train going to pull in, another train's going to pull out. They're just purely storage, just stop me having to keep lifting everything on and off. I don't need to be able to get to them all the time. So with that in mind, I've reattached this bottom area here, basically how it used to be. So that's ready to go. And then the big thing, I've cut up and I've reused the wood, and if I turn the camera around, it's absolutely carnage over there behind it. But basically what we've got now is we have this area here. Now this is going, the woodwork is going to be fastened in and will stay in. And then I've put a top on it, which simply will lift on and off. Now at the moment this is just foam board, but if you have a look, you can see I've marked what sits in between the wooden frame, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to attach some ply into there, some 9mm ply that I've got, and that'll just put some rigidity into this to hold it nice and flat. And then I'm going to cover the whole thing just in some PVA to seal it with being in the loft, so that will sit there and will lift on and off. And then that just leaves this area and this area to be covered. Now one thing that's important to remember is I'm just going to park up HSTs at the back, because I don't need to be able to see right down that corner. I will just put a mark on here on the board of where I need to stop an 8-car HST, so that I know where to stop it without seeing them down that bottom end. These tracks here I can see very easily just by lifting that up, and I can see where the end is. So I've tried to get a little bit cleverer than previously, again using lightweight material. Now I've attached the wood that used to be part of the frame to the back there, which is the same height as the town scene here is, and what I have made here is a structure out of foam board. And I didn't video me doing this because it's literally cutting up pieces of foam board, hot glue gun out and gluing it together to make a basic structure. And there's no back on that because I want it to be really light, so it sits on top of this wood, but it has got lots of structure to it to reinforce it underneath, and that will literally fit in like that. We'll have town on there, we'll have retaining wall along here, we'll have a bit of a bridge on there where the track goes off through into the storage yard, and we'll just tie that in. Now I've also started work on the one that's going to go on the front. Now this one's a little bit more complicated. This is quite high, and if I'd gone this high here, you would block out with a solid wall, you would block out the tracks, and I want to still be able to see the running lines. So this is what I'm in the process of making. So it's one solid piece of wood on the back, then we've got the foam board underneath, and I've actually put a bit of insulation board putting holes in the roof, on the top there as well. It's just an offcut that I had. So when this sits on here, like that, again, it covers the storage lines. I've also made what will be a lift on, lift off bridge section, which is going to sit there. And then I've still got some more work to do here. And let me move the camera and let me show you what this is going to create, because you'll get a better idea from that end. And you're going to have to excuse the mess in the loft, but let's do it. So you can see now all this white is this new storage area, and hopefully you can see the camera's picking up the new junction and the new extended running lines that run up under this bridge where the road will come across and down into the station and then into the actual station. This will have low relief buildings on it and also some full relief buildings as well. All here, which is where the camera's sat at the moment. Again, that'll be part of the town scene. And then what I'm going to do on this side here, I need to put some more pieces of foam board down to kind of bring this embankment down. We'll put some retaining wall, which I have somewhere there. Some of this, I think it's peco ratio kit. I've got tons of that, so that's about the right height to fit there. And then that means that we'll have an embankment looking down, so we'll get some nice camera angles here as the trains come out of the tunnels, running along this embankment. Nice camera angle again, going under the bridge and then going into the station. And on this area here, I'm going to make this into kind of like a town park area. With maybe some kind of festival or something like that going on, funfair rides, that kind of thing. Now, some of this I'm talking about is long-term plans, so don't get too excited. But I'm going to keep working. I'm going to get the rest of this built to what I want. I still haven't fully fastened down the running lines. All the fiddle or storage lines are fastened down. I just need to get some trains running so that I can see that everything's lined up properly. The best way to check that is to put a camera on, recording some video, get some trains running. If there's any nasty corners or sharp bits or anything like that, the camera will pick it up. So let me get this done, let me get some trains running, and then we're probably going to call this video done, because it's going to get really long. It's probably already really long, but never mind, let's crack on. Okay, so there it is, job done. The trains are running, as you can see, and we've got this nice open cutting now with the new junction in as well. That allows me to move the trains from the back loop to the front loop. All of this area is in here now. It's really lightweight, really easy to remove. This is where there's going to be a road bridge coming over, and again, this will just pop out once it's all been fixed. So that will just lift out, and then these sections just lift out as well. So nice, lightweight, easy hidden storage. The four lines more visible. You can see this is where it used to end, the scenic section, and this was all under that big grey board. So now we've got this nice section, and that's the view from the other side where you can see now the cutting. So obviously we're going to have town scene up here. You're going to have grass, a park on this area, so you can view down into the tracks. So we've got the embankment coming down here. We've got the road bridge there, and then just beyond that we go into the station. So I'm happy with that. It's opened it up really nicely. Obviously there's still a lot more work to be done on this. One thing that I've also done that I'm going to quickly show you. So I've just took the covers off just so you can see the inside here of this storage area and the four main lines running through the middle. But just here I have now put a switch for each storage lane. So it means the trains and the decoders are not turned on permanently. I can turn them off, and if you watch when I flick this switch here, if you watch the blue-grey HST at the back, hopefully there you saw the lights come on in the carriages when I turn that on, and when I turn it off, the lights go off as well. So I am going to leave this video there. As always, a massive thank you to everybody for your support, all the new subscribers, your kind words, comments, suggestions are always appreciated. If you're new here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. In fact, if you're not new here, still hit the like button. Keep YouTube happy and keep me happy as well. So thanks guys, until next time, take care, bye bye.